Ang video na to ay handog ni cdkoffers.com. Marami kang mahahanap na iba't ibang uri ng software dito. May games, apps, activation codes for Windows 10. Check out our video on CDK offers in the video description. Mabilis, mura, and syempre legit dito. Madali lang mag-order, search for the software you need, add to cart, check out, daan ka sa payment options nila, wala pa isang minuto, finished. May legit working CD key ka na sa software na pinili mo. Gamitin ang aming promo code para makakuha pa ng extra 20% discount sa purchase mo. Kung naghahanap ka ng mura, legit, and original software, check out cdkoffers.com.
Alright, what's up internet? We had some technical difficulties, although if you watch some of my streams, you know that this happens a lot. I think it's a firewall issue, but I already turned off the firewalls and it still happens. I really don't quite know what's going on, although I thought naayos na to before but anyway, we'll monitor the stream. Hopefully it won't happen again. It's just like parang you need to clear your throat. Like if you're able to stream for like 5 minutes, that's walang problema. Then usually the stream will be okay. So anyway, if you noticed, our camera is much clearer now because Canon was kind enough to lend us an actual honest-to-goodness camera. It's the EOS M6 Mark II. That's why I look bad, because I really look bad in real life. It's just that the cell phone cameras I use kind of fudge, the image. But now it's super clear, super clear with this actual honest-to-goodness camera. So it's taken some getting used to, pero ganda kasi ng quality. It's like super sharp, and then they had this like kind of bokeh effect na. Yon, are we back up? Sorry, I had to reconnect. Again, having streaming issues. It's not an ISP issue. It's also not a restream issue. I think it's really something to do with my rig. I just can't quite figure out what's going on. And we should be up now, although it's not showing up. Okay, there. It's showing up as. So hopefully that clears out everything. It's super annoying. I really thought na naayos na to before, so we'll kind of figure it out. But anyways, thanks for joining me for Media Diet. Basically, I'm just going to talk about things that I've read, played, or watched this past month. Although I haven't really been doing a lot of watching, I've been super busy. So we'll just start out with gaming. If the guys who watched this stream last time, this is kind of old footage, and I do apologize. Actually, I had new footage of, I had new gameplay footage recorded. The problem was, I had to give back the graphics card I was using from ASUS, and that was an NVIDIA, so I uninstalled everything. I didn't realize na that would also uninstall the saved video files or the recorded video files. So all of that got erased. And then when I was trying to prep for the show today, dun ko lang nalaman na wala na pala yung folder kung saan naka-record yung previous gameplay. So this is actually old gameplay footage that I had removed already from that folder. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, who knew na when you uninstall the NVIDIA drivers, kasama rin yung mga game clips mo. So do keep that in mind if you're uninstalling a driver. So these are old clips from Valheim, but we'll talk about Valheim first. I've been playing that a lot with my friends online. I don't usually play these kind of games, to be honest. Parang, I don't usually play survival games. I don't usually play online games, actually. I usually play single-player games. But it's been super fun. Not least because, you don't get to see your friends in real life as often anymore, since we're about 18 months since the world changed because of COVID. So it's nice that if several times a week we jump online and we play Valheim. For those of you who haven't played it, it's like a survival game where you level up basic skills like using your axe or mining, or aside, and then of course the usual combat skills like blocking, rolling, dodging, things like that, shooting your bow. So yeah, to be actually, it's from a sort of independent developer. It's still on beta in Steam, but it became super popular. The graphics are not bad for an indie developer. I was quite surprised. And sorry, if you're chatting, I might not, I can't see the chat. Kasi takot ako na it might be the chat that's causing the problems. So, let me see if I can, see if I can reply to the chat elsewhere. Restream kasi has a built-in chat feature, but parang I notice every time I do that, when I use the restream chat feature, parang nagka-crash yung stream eh. So, I don't know, maybe that's it. So, I'll just look at the I'm gonna try to fix, or I'm gonna try to look at the chat through YouTube. Vaya Cashew Nut says na ganda ng pagka-focus. Yes. Thank you to Canon for actually lending us an honest to goodness camera. Yun nga, the M6 Mark II. And we've been playing around with it. I haven't shot a video with it. Although Rafael, my brother, has Fuji also lent us a camera, the XS10. So he's been using that for B-roll. Although tomorrow I'm gonna get up super early at 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to go to the shop and shoot something. Hopefully I won't screw anything up and we can actually use the footage from this camera because it looks really quite nice. Crazy Player 1, well, KC Bolio, Sparring Rules of Survivor. To be honest, I don't know. Di ko pa nalaro yan. But yeah, Valheim. And there's a lot of leveling up. So you start with stones, and then iron, and then bronze, and then... Sorry, I think it's bronze first, and then iron. And then now we're at the Silver Age, so which you have to mine from the mountains and things like that. So it's really meant for multiplayer. Even like the basic tasks like mining, yung medyo parang nakakatamad gawin. It's a lot easier with, if you do it with friends. Yeah. Crazy Player 1 from YouTube, salamat sa mga videos nyo na talagang napaka-educational. Thanks so much. I'm glad you found them useful. We really do try to make videos na pang helpful to, especially to beginners. Because we understand medyo magulo nga yung computer. It's really hard to learn actually kasi dami mong kailangan. There's so many things. The motherboard is compatible with your CPU, is compatible with your RAM, your GPU, and things like that. And honestly, I feel like a beginner now dito sa mga cameras. Like, wala akong alam talaga sa mga DSLR, SLR. Like, I know they don't have mirrors anymore. Everything is kind of computerized. Or is that SLR or DL? I don't even know. Like, SLR means single lens reflux, single lens refractory. Like, I have no idea. So anyway, my point is parang how some people feel about computers, that's also how I feel about cameras na wala akong alam and things like that. So being able to play around with one of these expensive cameras for a while will prove to be very educational. Mr. Brightside asks, am I going to be at the shop tomorrow? I will be, hopefully, but super early lang to shoot, mga 6 to 8:30. I won't be around when customers come in because I have other schedules for tomorrow. But tomorrow at the shop will be our usual staff, Rox and Gerald, who are both very competent and very knowledgeable. And actually, yun nga, Gerald is one of our techs and he assembles better than me. Sobrang galing nun mag-cable management and talagang sobrang hasa na siya sa mga computer stuff. But I wasn't going to talk about Valheim first. Actually, the first thing on the summary, or the thing we're going to talk about. Oh, somebody shared. Thanks for sharing. The first thing that I was going to talk about is crypto trading, and media diet is supposed to be the things I played, I read, and I watched. But parang crypto trading is kind of like playing. of course, with real money, and you should be careful with your money, and just don't throw it away frivolously. Pero at the same time, yun nga, medyo, I try not to get super serious about my crypto trading. It's been a wild week in the crypto space. Kasi Elon Musk went on SNL over the weekend, and so a lot of people were betting that the price of Dogecoin, DOGE, Doggy. I prefer Doggy, so I'm just gonna say Doggy Coin. Doggy Coin was gonna go up, and then when it didn't, I was watching it, so around Sunday night, sobrang bumagsak yung prices. Like in general, um, it's like everything crashed. And so I kind of panicked, and I hindi naman panic, but controlled buying. If you think it's gonna drop, but and you have a profit, lock in that profit, sell it. So I kind of sold, but it was unnecessary really, because when I woke up today, okay naman, the stocks, the prices of the crypto had already recovered, except for Doggy Coin. Um, that one is still kind of depressed. Although to be honest, I did buy into Doggy Coin. I bought in a lot of stock. I've been wanting to buy into Ethereum, but it's so expensive now. It hit another all time high, like 4,000 something. Like a week ago or like 10 days ago, that was like $2,900. Now it's like $4,000. So for Ethereum, I have been waiting to buy in, waiting for it to drop so I can get in at a good price, but it hasn't yet. And so I've been, the last time I bought, it was around at 2.9. And so I'm kind of annoyed now because I'm thinking, just how high can this damn thing go, right? I mean, how high can ETH go without a major correction? And every time I think, oh, this is it. This price, definitely ceiling na to, and then babagsak na siya. Wala. It still keeps going. So it's been very frustrating for me for Ethereum. But I bought MLN, Melon. I bought some Maker, some BNB, Binance Coin. I like Fluid actually. I bought a lot of Fluid, even though Fluid has been crashing. Hindi naman crashing, but Fluid has been going down. Like I bought it at around $30 per coin. Now it's at around 28, 27, I think. So it's been going down. Although I do have faith in that and in Dogecoin, in Doggy Coin. Let me go through the. So that's been my crypto trading for the past maybe 2 weeks. Been really expecting the market to kind of crash because all of the like Ethereum Classic ETC, when the current Ethereum actually isn't how they started. It started with ETC, which was then called Ethereum. Then it forked, and then the original became ETC, and then the upgraded version became Ethereum. But ETC has gone nuts, man. It's at around $120 now, or 115 or so. When again 10 days ago, that was like around $40, I think. I got in at around 40, and it's quite high now. So now I can't sell it anymore because I really don't see the point of like sobrang tumaas na yung coin, bebenta mo, and then when it goes down, you're just gonna go in anyway. So for those kind of things, like there's been a major increase. I just usually keep the coin, and then when I just really super need the money, that's when I sell it. So that's been my crypto journey so far. That's just been the update. We did do a live stream last month where I talked about like the basics of crypto. So you can check that out if you're curious. There are some questions in the comments about it. First, we'll go through the comments. Play RE8 next. I don't know what that is. To be honest, I don't know what rate Rust. I know Rust, but I don't think it's abbreviated like that. But if you tell me the game, Gyoko from YouTube, I will look it up. Mr. Brightside, gusto magpa-pick. I'm at the shop like maybe 50% of the time. I'm sure if you drop by, you'll run into me eventually. Um, Actually, if it weren't COVID times, like definitely we would be at ESGS, and I look forward to those kind of events because we can see everybody there. Just people who've seen us on YouTube, people who know us from the shop and things like that. So we do attend some IRL events like that before, but now with COVID, we don't really know what's going to happen. So I do miss that kind of in real life interaction. But definitely when everybody gets vaccinated and events kind of go back to normal, the next ESGS we will be there, and that's a good place to just say hi. Like I'd like to meet you guys. There are a lot of names dito sa chat na I see quite often commenting and chatting, and I'd like to see you guys as well as the old customers. Like we're 3 years this year actually, Hardware Sugar as a shop. We start July 2021. So there are some customers that up to now they still buy from us, and I know their names. So it's kind of nice that we've that yeah we've lasted this long, and you guys have been patient enough with us to stick with us throughout the 3 years. Crazy Player One. Sir, tapos na po ba yung pag-usapan yung crypto trading? Yun, actually, sorry. I just talked about it, na tumalon kasi ako sa Valheim eh. Although yun nga, tama dun sa outline, we should have talked about crypto trading first. Fish the TV, sup? Thanks for joining us. Um, Crazy Player One, Crazy Player One. What platform do I use? I did touch on this in the live stream. For local, I use Coins PH or Coins Pro, which is actually the same as Coins. Same guys as Coins PH, but they're a different platform. Actually, you get better margin, better fees on Coins Pro. And I'm on PDAX, also a local exchange. And just very recently, after that live stream, I'm trying out the beta of Bloom, which is a new exchange here. I super like Bloom. The interface is very clean, easy to understand, and they have a lot of coins. Sobrang dami ng coins available sa Bloom compared to PDAX and to Coins Pro. But most of my trading I do on Kraken, which is a exchange based in the States. I like it because the prices are usually more in line with what you see online. I've noticed kasi medyo you trade at a premium here sa atin. I've touched on some of the reasons why I don't really do a lot of my trading with the local exchanges. Yun nga, the interfaces are confusing. The volume of trading is not so good usually, but a lot of people are getting into it now, so that's been getting solved naman, or that's less of a problem now. But I still do most of my trading uh, on Kraken. That's my main platform. Pandesal, YouTube member, thanks for joining us. I wanted to buy Ethereum back when it was 3.2K, but I didn't think it was already too expensive. I hear you, man. I hear you. That's exactly what I've been thinking this entire goddamn time. I bought a 2.9, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna make a value bet. Sige, 2.9, fine, 2.9. Kung tumaas, good. Kung bumaba, okay lang din, value bet. And then it keeps going up and going up, and I keep thinking, bababa yan, and it never goes down. David, is this fun with flags? No, although that is my usual joke when people say that I remind them of Sheldon from Big Bang. And then I type na this is not fun with flags. Stanley B, another great episode. I hope so. Although really Media Diet is our most unfocused show. It's just really me talking about stuff that I've been spending time on during the past month or so. And actually, this is also where I get to geek out over the things that I've read. So we do touch on things that not super related to computer, or although like crypto or gaming, they're kind of related, but it's not like, it's not like we don't talk like super hardware stuff, unlike Pwede Magtanong, which is our tech show. But yeah, I hope it's a good show, or this is just really me shooting the breeze. Just having a good time, chatting with you guys. Actually, this is the most I come to like to being a streamer, kasi this is the only show where I can actually focus talaga on the chat, kasi some of the shows like Pwede Magtanong, I have to look at. Okay, let's try this. Okay, wait lang. Speaking of chat, I wanted to reply on Facebook, but then yeah, I can't use the app, the internal app of Restream. So I think that's the one that's making it crash. So what I have to do is old school style and go into the actual interface of FB and YouTube pareho, which is what's going on here. So I try to reply, but it pops up. Okay. Okay. So I'm just using the FB native way of replying through browser and as well as the YouTube's native way of replying. Resident Evil 8, also known as Resident Evil Village, RE8. You know, I haven't played any of the Resident Evil games, to be honest. I don't play a lot of the horror genre. Also, kasi generally the only time I get to play now is at night by myself. Just parang nakakatakot eh. Actually, to be honest, kahit yung Valheim, like, you know, I'm playing before when we were still new at the game, and it's nighttime in game. It's not even nighttime in real life, just in game. It's kind of like, oh, it's scary. You're in the woods. It's kind of atmospheric. So it's kind of medyo kinakabahan ako nun eh. I haven't played a lot of the horror genre in general, and I have not played RE8. Yeah, but if the reviews are good, why not? Although yun nga, ang dami kong backlog eh. Like, you know, when it's team sale, I mean, you guys know how it is. When it's team sale, dami mong binibili kasi sobrang mura. And then, next team sale, doon na yung regret. Kasi you open your Steam and you're like, oh, I haven't played this game. I haven't played this game. But this game is on sale. So I gotta get that first and stuff like that. So, I do have a lot of games that I need to, um, play. Tsaka sobrang kuripot ko eh. I really wait until they're like super low na, super discounted. And then once I bought them, I do feel the need to play them since binili ko na eh. Yeah. DJ, Binance is good. Yes, I know a lot of people like to trade on Binance. Also because I think you can use your credit card. Like you can buy crypto using your card. Um, yeah, but to be honest, I've been on Kraken for years, so it's just na tinatamad na ako to try to learn something new. um, but yeah, Binance is a super popular trading platform. Joaquin, do you recommend Lian Li on Unifans? They look very nice. We have sold them before. Nobody has come back to complain, so I think they're good quality also. And it's really smart. It's a smart implementation of daisy chaining fans. The only downside maybe is you pay a price premium because they are Lian Li and they are in demand. But even then, yeah, I'd say get them if you're thinking about them. They look good. They actually do something. They're just not like, oh, like they're an expensive brand, but you don't really know why you're paying the premium. But in the case of the Unifans, they're you can tell that oh pinag-isipan naman to. They do make your life easier for cable management. So yeah, um, why not? Pandesal, what is that headphones? These are my old Sennheiser wireless headset. This is actually not for gaming or it's not marketed as a gaming headset because these are like 10 or 15 years old or something like that. I bought them when I was in college or law school because I wanted to watch TV using these guys. So for a long time, these were my media headsets. But like for the past year or so, I've moved them to my PC and now I use them quite a lot actually for on the PC instead of using them for like for media on my TV and things like that. Um, that is when I'm not using the tough H3, which ASUS was kind enough to lend to us, which is also quite good. I do actually miss using the Strix Go 2.4, which ASUS also lent to us. Yun kasi integrated na yung mic dun. So this one, it's just the headset, Sennheiser, and my mic is a mic that I stole from my brother. ITX Addict says na Kraken is pretty awesome. I do like it. I do like it. They gave away free trading when they went down. So like as a sorry to the viewers, to the users. And like yeah, they do they do things like that. I mean, they're not like an uptight kind of exchange. And what I like about them, they seem to be secure so far. I mean, they've been in the. I mean, of course, super important for any crypto related matter. Um, they've been at it for years, and I haven't heard of any serious breach of their security. I mean, you don't want to have a Mt. Gox situation, which is a real. If you've been trading for a long time, you know you've heard of uh, Mt. Gox, or you might have MT Gox, or you might have even traded on MT Gox. So that's a whole mess when they got hacked. But that was like way back in the day. There are a lot of actually very popular exchanges. Kraken isn't even that popular relatively. Binance is quite popular. Um, uh, Coinbase just had an IPO, bonkers valuation. They're also quite popular. Crazy Player One, sana next time may pamigay na PC. We're kind of anti we're kind of anti giveaway, but since you brought up giveaway, I'm gonna show you what we are giving away. Ito confirm na guys. Hindi ito tumbler. Wait lang ah. I'm gonna bring it out of the fridge and then I'm gonna show it to you guys. The first for you guys watching on the stream, this is an exclusive. You're hearing it first. Wait lang. For our 60K video, we will be giving away 11 bottles of Don Papa rum. This is Mascara rum. This is actually a premium local brand. So they make it here. Yeah, look at that bottle, man. It looks like, oh, you can see Logi in the background. You can see my dog in the background. Background. Oop. Yeah, oh, you can see his butt. Okay, there's Logi's butt. If you've been following my videos for a long time, you know Logi pops up from time to time. But yeah, you guys are hearing it here first. This is our first official giveaway. Nagpa-giveaway kami when Deep Cool. Damn, I want to drink now. when Deep Cool uh when we interviewed Marvin Uy, who's sort of like the country head or representative here in the Philippines for Deep Cool, they were kind enough to give away items, or they said, no, magpag-giveaway tayo when you interview Marvin. So we gave away 2 cases. But this is the first time that we're actually kind of like, integrating it into a video. So there are 11 bottles of these guys. And, just for like, this is a tumbler. This is no, I mean, it's like the size of a tumbler. And it's really heavy. And this is good quality stuff. I've had Don Papa before. And the guys who win this one are gonna have a super good time. What we're gonna do with the 60K video is na I'm gonna react to mean comments because that's what I promised I would do for the 60K video, and I'm gonna be drinking. Hindi naman like, it's not like an alcoholic video. It's more like pampagood vibes lang. Yun, chill lang. Mean comments, people on the internet can stress you out, but alcohol, just remember the good times. Yung relax lang, good, steady lang, chill lang na vibes. And throughout the video, there are 3 points in the video. We're gonna flash code words or key phrases. Then you just need to input in a Google form that we're gonna link to what the code phrases are. And then yun, eligible ka na to win one of the bottles. And then we'll just pick from one of the eligible guys. And yun, you win one, then we'll send it to you for free. So we have 11 bottles of the Don Papa Mascara rum to give away. So that is like our first official giveaway. To be honest, we're kinda anti-giveaway kasi we're cheap and PC parts are expensive, not to mention like full PCs are super expensive. But when brands are kind enough to help us out, product support, we're super happy to give that away. We are keeping one bottle, and I'm curious like how much I'm gonna finish because I've been screening the comments that we're gonna do for the. I mean, look at this bottle. Look at this. Autofocus camera. Autofocus. It's locked in on my face. Okay, we're gonna. Yeah. Okay. Um, I've been screening the comments that I'm gonna be reacting to for the 60K, and some of them are really like some of them are really like I like reading the comments actually, whether they're mean or they're compliment. Of course, if they say like, oh, thanks so much for the videos, I feel good, I like it that we've helped people out. And if they're mean, I'm just like, meh, have a good time. I find the mean videos funny, so uh I'm gonna try not to lose it on the 60K video. Especially kasi siguro after 3 or 4 shots of Don Papa, medyo nakainom na ako niyan. It's like a truth serum. So we'll see how that video goes down. JC, I love your use of pop culture in your vids. Great new material. Appeals to the younger generation as well. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, the references I know are kind of old. So, like you mentioned in one of your comments the Star Wars trench run from the original Star Wars from A New Hope, Episode 4. So I love. If you notice, if it's one of my videos, there's gonna there it's most likely gonna be a Star Wars reference, maybe a Mass Effect reference. We do have a video being edited right now that's a heavy Mass Effect reference. Oh, you can see Logie in the background. This camera is amazing. When I was using my cell phone, you never see Logie in the background, even though he was always kind of popping around there in the background. But I think somebody locked him out of the living room. I guess he was being a pest. Logan is a husky. Not that anyone asked, or I don't think anybody asked. Just making kwento na Logie's a husky, and huskies have this really high energy, so you have to always have activity for them, and they're kind of very stubborn and headstrong. So actually, they're not ideal dogs to have if you have a small house or if you don't walk them every day. For years, I walked Logan every day. Rain or shine yan. I walk Logie every day. You can see him there in the background. It's just that when the pandemic hit and it was like hard lockdown, that's when medyo na-disrupt yung walking schedule niya. It's kind of annoying. Okay, let's go to the comments. Okay, si Bolio said na, see, look at that dog. He's trying to get in on streaming. Sennheiser sold their consumer headsets. Oh, I didn't know that. I super love this thing. Yun nga, it's so old, but it's so good. The quality is so good. Oh, wait, let me open the door. Oh, good thing I remember to wear shorts for this one. Ha. Huskies are also very pack animal type, so they don't like they always look for you. They're kind of needy actually. They're very needy. They're a very needy breed. I'm more of a cat person to be honest. I grew up with cats. It's only very relatively recent in my life that I got a dog. Okay. Hang on guys, I'm just gonna let him back out. I did not know that Sennheiser sold their headset line. Damn. These things work great. And yeah, they're like 10 or so plus years old. Pesto, what's the topic for tonight? Basically, just everything I've played and watched and read this past month. So the typical media diet setup. Also, I've talked about my dog already. I've talked about the giveaway that we're gonna do on the 60K video. Parang I want to drink this now. This came from the ref. Actually, I put this in the ref because rum is supposed to be chilled now. I'm looking at it now because I wanna. I'm tempted to drink. But anyway, JC Commander Shepard endorses hardware sugar. Best PC shop in the Citadel. I did have to research. Yeah, diba? Parang when I very recently came across it again. I mean, I do remember it from my playthrough. Because we got some Mass Effect clips nga for that video that we're editing. I am very excited for the legendary version. I played it through like 3 times, twice as male ship and once as fem ship. My latest playthrough was fem ship, and when I mean playthrough, it's like all of them, like 1, 2, 3 plus DLC. So I've spent a lot of hours in Mass Effect. And I even played Andromeda. But the less said about Andromeda, the better. The best parts of Andromeda were the parts where they call back to Mass Effect. Like you hear a voice recording of Liara, and she's like, if you can hear this, you might be our only hope because the Reapers are coming and you guys are outbound flight, basically. Outbound flight being a Star Wars reference. But anyway, yeah, and then you're playing Andromeda, and it's not really capturing the spirit of Mass Effect. And then you hear callbacks like that. You hear Liara Tessoni's voice with that message. You're like, damn, and then you feel bad that you're not getting the same kind of wowness that you got in the original Mass Effect trilogy. So yeah, but yeah, big fan. Although I haven't bought Legendary. Again, I'm kuripot and I have a lot of games left to play. So I'm waiting. I'm probably gonna wait for it to to drop in price. Sup, Leah Magnaye? We are slowly but surely building up your computer. So excited for that. The game playing right now is Valheim. At least the screen, what's playing on the screen. Andre, first time watching your stream. Thanks so much for joining us. This is really kind of a like walang kwenta stream. But kasi I like just talking about the things like, oh my god, I saw this movie and it's so good. Oh my god, I read this book, it's so good. So this is my most chilled stream. Like, I do prepare in the sense that I list down the things that I'm going to talk about. But other than that, it's very freewheeling, um, very stream of thought kind of stream. Oh, stream of thought stream. Virginia Woolf would be proud of what we're doing now. Virginia Woolf, one of the people to pioneer stream of thought um, format in literature. Format. I think my former professors might get upset if I called it that. Stream of thought technique, stream of thought form of writing, blah blah blah. Anyway, yeah, I do like also this show because it allows me to kind of throw back or call back to when I used to teach, and when in that role, I also used to frequently digress to talk about things like, oh my god, this poem is so good, or oh my god, the short story, it's amazing. Parang ganyan. We do have occasional guests on Media Diet. My good friend Gizmo. Although lately I haven't been inviting him because I feel jahe. I feel embarrassed na if I have somebody else, if I have a guest, then I feel like I have to super prepare kasi jahe naman sa kanila na hindi naman pwede bara-bara. You invited him to be on the show and then like you're not prepared, right? So I invited him because I get embarrassed and I get stressed na, oh my god, I gotta prepare. Unlike now when it's just me, hindi naman nahiya kasi it's just me. And I do very prepare, just very slightly. But speaking of Gizmo, he did give me this focus. Yeah, it's the tank from Ghost in the Shell, the standalone complex. I want to say Chakotay, but it's not a Chakotay. It's Chakotay is the guy from Star Trek Voyager. This is damn, what do they call these tanks? They're sounds like Chakotay. It'll come back to me. But yeah, Gizmo, we're those kind of friends. So like we're super geeky into sci-fi and trade stuff like that. Tachikoma, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ian Cuevas. ITX Addict, yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah, Gizmo knows me well. We've been friends since college. So, and he kind of he wasn't sure if I didn't have that, but he was pretty sure. That's why he got it. Yeah, actually, since like I would shoot, like I would show you guys what's on my desk, pero I'd have to move the camera, and then to be honest, it's very nicely positioned now. I'm afraid like if I moved it, it's gonna fall down, and then I have to explain to Canon like ba't ko nasira yung camera nila. But on my desk also, I have a thing for um, sci-fi kind of figurines or models of ships. So this is the Battlestar Galactica. This is BSG from the reimagined series. This one I got for myself. And I do have a bunch of other things. Like I have the Enterprise, the D, of course, from TNG. I have NX-01, the first Enterprise from Enterprise. And I have a Romulan Warbird from the TNG era. So I have this very geeky fixation with these things. This one in particular is quite good. The model is quite large and the detail is superb. It's die-cast, so it's not that plasticky feeling. To go back to Mass Effect, I did research. I came across one ship. It was the Normandy, and it's like this really huge ass model. It's like I don't know how many inches long, and it's super detailed. And but it's like $400 or something. So um, even I couldn't bring myself to pay that much for Normandy, even though I'm such a big Mass Effect fan, and I like having these models of the ships. Um, Maybe when Hardware Sugar does really, really well, I'll treat myself to that. But it's like maybe 20 years in the future. Oh, it's up, Ergo. Ergo is one of the guys here. One of the characters, or he's controlling one of the characters here on the in the playthrough that I'm I'm displaying. Although this is a very early version, we're much tougher Vikings now. We've killed wolves, we've killed bosses, we've killed Draugrs, we've killed Drake. So nothing. This is very early days from our Valheim expedition. Ergo is also the first person we interviewed for in the industry back in September, and very fitting way to start the series because up to now we're still going strong because we get such quality guests like Ergo. ITX Addict, GITS, or what does GIT stand for again, ITX Addict? Di ba standalone complex di ba? So, di ba it's STOC, standalone, STAC, standalone complex. But what does GIT stand for? I forget. It junior high days. Was I in junior high for GITS? Ghost in the Shell. Tama. Okay, yeah. Sorry. GITS. I think I must have been around high school. Yeah, I do remember. Although I have to be honest, the first time I watched Ghost in the Shell, nakatulog ako. It's very meditative exploration of cyberpunk, of like the neuromancer kind of thing, kind of vibe going on. But yeah, I think my high school, I distinctly remember watching it for the first time. It was late, like 11, 12 or so. Maybe on a school night or like on a weekend night. Anyway, but I remember falling asleep and then waking up the next day thinking, well, what was that about? I do appreciate standalone complex more just because they have more time to flesh out the characters and get into crazy plots. Like parang there's this guy, he's just a disembodied entity on the internet and he infects the meat puppets. I don't think that's a term they use in the show, but that's a term that Neuromancer uses for them. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Next up, we're talking about Spiritfarer, which I talked about last time. But last month, I said that I just wanted to buy it. Ngayon, I was able to buy it na. the Nintendo store didn't make it easy. They didn't want to accept Philippine cards, so I had to get my sisters in the States. I had to use her PayPal, and it's a whole thing. But in the end, oh man, look at this dog. Look at this dog. Doggy's just trying to get in. But in the end, I was able to get Spiritfarer. It's a resource management game, so you collect wood, well, kind of like Valheim, but very different. But in that sense, that you collect berries, you fish for crustaceans and fish and things like that. Um, so, but it's a very light-hearted resource game. Basically, you take over from Charon. Charon in Greek mythology is the guy who ferries spirits across over the river Styx. When you die, according to the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, you need to cross this river to get to the underworld, and you need to pay Charon coins, which is why the ancient Greeks, buried their dead with coins on their eyes, so that their dead could pay Charon. So in Spiritfarer, you are the next Charon, and you collect spirits, and you kind of need to make them happy in order for them to move on. And maybe like 2 or 3 hours in pa lang. It's very light, enjoyable game. And sometimes I like that. It's for the Switch. I'm playing it on the Switch. I do know that there is a PC version. But it's like a throwback to the good old RPG days. The dialogue is kind of quirky. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not a reflex game, so you don't need to worry about um, falling to your death or dying or things like that. It's very laid back kind of game. Gentleman Parrots up. Always good to see you. Doggo in the back. Yeah, Logi has been very makulit. Oh, though now he's gone. I think somebody finally let him back into the living room. Um, yeah, so I'm enjoying Spiritfarer. Just because it is so no consequences. Like it's very relaxed, go at your own pace. And sometimes you just want a game like that, and kind of take it easy, and don't worry about things too much. Where you just let the narrative unfold. And it's talking about narrative. I remember when I talked about Spiritfarer, and witty pa nung title eh, kasi literally you fare spirits. That's your goal. That's your mission to transport spirits, that to help them pass on. So you are literally a Spiritfarer. When I talked about Spiritfarer last time, I mentioned that I'm super into the whole dead aesthetic, or using the afterlife as inspiration for your game. And of course, one of the super super duper great games that does that, is Grim Fandango from LucasArts, the OG best, not OG, but like what I mean by OG is like if I had to think of an all-time greatest adventure game, Grim Fandango would definitely be up there. I talked about it previously already. I don't want to rehash myself because then I just feel like an old guy talking about like, oh, back in my day, this game was so good and you youngins don't appreciate it now. But yeah, you can go back to the previous media diet if you want to hear my thoughts on Grim Fandango was a super great game. Ganda ng graphic design, ganda ng how it plays into the world, ganda ng story. Puzzles are devilishly hard. It's all of those things. It's such a great game. And I wish I could I still have Arnel Valiente. Sorry, Amel says I still have the demo CD of PC Gamers with Grim Fandango. Wow, that is back in the day. I do remember that they came out with demo versions. I think Computer Gaming World also had one. So we're showing our age when it was still CDs and physical magazines, and they came out with free demo CDs. Yeah, but that's how old that game is. But I would play that game now. Like if it came out with a version that would run in Windows 10, I would super play that game again. So good, so good. Next up is a book that I'm reading. I'm actually reading 3 books. I actually don't. I read a lot. If it might not, like I don't really talk about it in the other streams, but I read a lot. super into reading, and I love reading just anything, just like any topic that interests me, fiction, non-fiction. So although it's very rare for me to read books at the same time, I only usually at the most it's like one fiction and one non-fiction. Um, and although I make an exception now, because I'm reading a lot of my old BattleTech books, which are these pulpy sci-fi books. Um, uh, so they don't take a lot of effort. I mean, because I've read them so many times, I remember what the plot is. They're just basically nostalgia candy for me. So I am reading these two books right now simultaneously. Think Fast, Thinking Slow, which is non-fic, and Sid Meier's Memoir, which is also non-fic actually. We'll get into it. I just wanna answer Pesto in the chat from YouTube. Grim Fandango, is it similar to the Alone in the Dark series? Not really. Yes, in the sense that it's an adventure game, so you need to collect items and you need to interact with the world using those items so that you can progress in the world. So it's kind of like that. But in terms of so the gameplay mechanic is kind of similar. Just like all adventure games, like Monkey Island, Secret of Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion before Day of the Tentacle. All adventure games share those gameplay mechanics. Newer ones would be Kentucky Route Zero. What's the one by Tim Schafer who also did Grim Fandango? I played it. I just can't recall the title now. But you're like in a spaceship and you're a kid. Anyway, but the graphic design of Grim Fandango is very stylized. I think the plot is much more. The characters in Grim Fandango are so good. Like they're so compelling. Yeah, similar to the Sierra and LucasArts games. Yes, exactly. Like Full Throttle from LucasArts, also adventure game. The old Robin Williams, not Robin Williams. There was a designer before na parang Williams. Space Quest, like Space Quest from Sierra before. Yeah, so that's kind of like that's the same gameplay, but the characters are so good in Grim Fandango. The story is so good. Damn man, damn. Talagang what a game. One of my all-time most beloved games, Grim Fandango. Going back to Think sorry, there's a typo. Think Fast. Actually, the Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. This is a very interesting book. It's by a Nobel Prize winner. And the basic thesis is now there are two kinds of thought. The way our minds work is that there are always two kinds of thought processes running in our heads. The type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the one that's very instinctive. It's like it doesn't have to think. It makes associations and then concludes already from that. It's the kind of it's that part of your brain that when you see a celebrity endorser that you like endorse this cigarette, for example, it's a part of your brain that says, "Oh yeah, I would buy that cigarette," just because you are favorably inclined to that celebrity, and when you see them recommending something, that's you follow that predisposition, and then you're also inclined to follow the recommendation. And type 2 is the opposite. Type 2 is the rational, the thinking slow version of your mind, where it deals with statistics instead of intuitive thinking. It deals with really having to slow down your thought process and having to exert mental effort, because type 1 is automatic, it's instantaneous. And listening to the descriptions, you might think, oh well, it's better to exercise type 2 than type 1. But one of the points of the book is that type 1 is super useful to us, kasi you can't live without type 1 also, because a lot of the time you need to make snap decisions. You're driving and suddenly you see a motorcycle coming towards you. You don't have the time to engage type 2 and think, well, why is the motorcycle approaching me? Is he running away from something? Is he going to stop? And things like that. type 1 will automatically say that you need to swerve out of the way of the motorcycle coming towards you. So both of them have their roles. It's just interesting. The book goes through so many examples of psychological experiments that people have done, um, demonstrating like the power of type 1 and type 2. Like a super interesting real world experiment they did was in Israel, where um, they studied the judges who give parole. And they noticed that the judges give parole most often right after they've eaten, and least frequently right when they're hungry. So like right before lunch break, sobrang malas mo if it's your file that came up before that judge, because chances are, based on his previous decisions, he will deny your parole. But mas mataas your chances of getting parole are higher if the judge has just eaten. So again, it's type 1 thinking infiltrating even what should be type 2 thinking. Because basically the book is saying, tamad tayo. We're like water. We go to the path of least resistance. If something is making me uncomfortable, if something is taxing my brain, then I'm just gonna go to the comfortable thing. And that includes like how you feel. And if you're hungry, you're feeling discomfort, and you have to think pa, you have to read like, oh, this guy, this guy shoplifted one canned good, and you think canned good, and you think, damn, I'm hungry, and well, he shouldn't be stealing food, and you're gonna deny his parole. I mean, not obviously the crimes weren't all related to food. They controlled for all other things being equal. Even that one, you are least likely to get parole right before lunchtime, because the judge is feeling physical discomfort, and it's unnerving, because justice shouldn't rely on these whims these capricious whims of being hungry and things like that. And supposedly we're better than that, but thinking fast, thinking slow precisely shows us that we're not, and we have a lot of unconscious bias that we're carrying around, and it's just a function of how our brains work, because evolutionarily, type 1 is super useful to us. We don't have time to debate whether that wolf, again, running towards us is going to eat us. We run away. We instinctively know to be afraid. And type 1 is super useful for that. And it's just really, the book is very useful, at least for me, in helping me be aware that you need to be aware of your biases. And I always try to be super conscious, like, why did I arrive at this particular decisions? Why did I buy this game? Why did I buy this car? Why do I think this computer part is better than this part? Is it because it really performed better? Or is it because I have good memories of the brand? And that is a fallacy. That's one of the fallacies the book talks about, that, you have prior good experience, and that might be informing your current decision making, even though it no longer has any bearing, because that brand has changed a lot in the time that you last bought from them. There's also the halo effect, where if you're predisposed to like, you admit that you like a person, that you like something, and everything that brand or the person does will have a halo effect. So you admire this person, and then suddenly you hear that person was disrespectful to women, and because you like that person already, you might be disinclined to make excuses for him. Well, maybe he had a reason, maybe he was just having a bad day. He's not that kind of guy, I'm sure he was just having a bad day. And that's the halo effect, where the initial good impression colors everything else about it to a biased degree. Yep. Randre Ortiz is like making decisions when you're mad. Yes, that is type 1 taking over. And it's true, di ba? Parang paminsan sobrang uminit lang ulo mo, and in Tagalog, di ba, dumidilim paningin mo. And it's true, that's literally, you can feel your mind shutting down and not wanting to think it through, not wanting to Um, not wanting to have to think that, should I really be upset and should I be yelling at this person? Because you just want to give in to the urge, yeah, to get upset and things like that. Data Blitz, still on the old games, yeah. Data Blitz, Data Blitz is still around, still going strong. I always wonder. I'm reacting to a comment on YouTube. To be honest, I was surprised that Data Blitz has hung on for so long kasi taas nung software piracy sa atin dati. It's much curbed now. Daming killjoys eh. But like when I was growing up, like in high school, college, yeah, software piracy was rampant. It's been cut back drastically now. And Data Blitz survived that. Yeah, it's still going strong. I do have very good feelings. I remember buying Grim Fandango. I got off the school bus. Instead of walking home, I walked to the mall, went to Data Blitz, bought Grim Fandango, and then walked back home. Yeah, so good times, good memories. The Westwood Studios, early EA, Red Alert 2, Generals, CNC, Command and Conquer. Remember playing that. Remember buying it. Before that, Dune 2, the one of the OG RTS games, Dune 2, along with Warcraft 2, then StarCraft. Of course, Warcraft 2 had original Warcraft. Um, but it really sort of like started to gain a lot of steam in Warcraft 2. Dune 2, I never played Dune 1. I don't know what Dune 1 was about. I don't even know if it was an RTS actually. Warcraft 1 I played. It was an RTS. And then they improved on the formula with Warcraft 2. But Dune 1, I don't recall playing it. Pesto, is this the Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow by Daniel, what's his name? Um, Kahneman? Yes, that's the book I'm talking about. Yep. Super fascinating. Yuri's Revenge. I have not played Yuri's Revenge. I did play Mech Commander, classic. Actually, a good BattleTech, like last year, or like maybe 18 months ago, they came out with a good BattleTech game na parang ganyan. Although yung Mech Commander RTS, ito turn-based, but it's really super faithful to the desktop game, like the board game, where facing is important, you jump behind, flanking is important, and cover, terrain, movement, all of those things. Basically, they just took the board game and then they made it into a computer game, and it's really good. I think it's called BattleTech. I finished it. I played it. I finished it. I've always wanted to go back to it actually and like maybe stream an episode kasi ang ganda nung and walk the viewer through the decisions. Why am I jumping my mech here? Why am I engaging this part of my lands versus and then walking back some of this? Because I like exploring the strategic decisions. Oh man, if you're watching the gameplay footage, this is the first time we killed a wolf in Valheim. But yeah, it's very fascinating kasi to have like explain your tactical choices in the battle in that particular BattleTech game. It's a very good game. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, Sup, Revin Jan? Thanks for joining us. IDX Addict, you're destroying years of advertising. Um, that's the thing. Even though people are aware of it, like the halo effect and things like that, they still fall prey to it. um, and even me, I would consider well, and that's another thing. Like whenever you hear statistics like this, like oh, like 90% of people fall for this, whatever it is, like a test or whatever, you think oh that wouldn't happen to me. But actually, we tend to overestimate our ability to be different from the crowd. So I try to keep that in mind when I think to myself, well, I wouldn't fall for that trick or I wouldn't fall for that or something. But I do admit, like in advertising, like I don't think I'm advertising usually doesn't work on me. I know friends, my wife, when she sees it on Facebook, like in a Facebook ad, suddenly she's buying it on Lazada or something. Aminado naman siya na she's very susceptible to to online advertising. Ako hindi, but even me, I do admit like there are some things like I see it and like oh my god that looks so good I want it. Like there isn't even a performance increase. It's just like ang ganda ng ad or ang ganda ng aesthetic or there's just something about it. And then the type 2 in my brain is like you don't really need that, but the type 1 is like wow, I want that thing. So even me who I feel I'm not too susceptible to advertising. Sometimes you I see something and like oh my god, and I can't get it out of my head. Actually, that's the problem with me. Once it's in there, di ko na talaga matanggal. And I'll be thinking about it for weeks, and then suddenly one day I wake up and I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy it today, and that's it. Like di ko natanggal. I couldn't extract it from my brain. Randre Ortiz, nowadays there's no halo effect, you just get cancelled. Um, well, iba naman yung halo effect sa benefit of the doubt. Actually, cancel culture is super interesting just from a cultural studies perspective or just from a societal perspective na I do, and I won't comment on it extensively because I don't want to piss anybody off and I haven't really thought about it too well. But actually, a good book to read about that is So You've Been Publicly Shamed, What Now? I read it a few years ago. And yun, it's basically like real world lynch mobs, the online lynch mobs. Like, yun nga, you send out a tweet, next thing you know, like 1,000 people are retweeting it and saying that you're a horrible person. So that book, So Now You've Been Publicly Shamed, What Now? I think that's a title or very similar to that phrasing. The author interviewed people that had actually been publicly shamed. And so they make kwento like, oh, this is what I said, this is what I did, and this was the reaction, this was the fallout. And it's just interesting because it's really, for instance, I remember one, kawawa nga eh. So there were these guys at a tech conference and um, they were, it was like a sit down kind of thing. They were watching a presentation and then they were talking about a woman they knew and then um, the presentation was about USB dongles. And so one of them jokingly said to another, they were both men, that well, I'd like to stick my dongle in her or some something along those lines. It was a green joke, right? I mean, for Filipinos we call that like, uh it's kind of like a bastos joke, but not like super graphic. I wouldn't think, that's super graphic. And it was a joke murmured between friends. But a woman in front of them heard them, parang turned around, took their picture, and then tweeted that she felt threatened. Like, oh, I'm at this tech conference and 95% of the attendees are men. And, this guy behind me just said this awful joke, awful. And if you just read the tweet, and yeah, it sounds kind of awful, but then when the author interviewed the guys, they're like, we didn't really mean for her to hear that. It wasn't about her. And they were even saying that on a technical perspective, like it wasn't even really a green joke now. It was more like a technical joke. And it's hard for me to give the exact context because I can't remember the specifics now. But when I first read the tweet, I was like, oh yeah, baboy, diba? Baboy yung malalaki na to. That was my personal feeling after reading it. But then after reading their explanation, it was quiet naman. We weren't directing it towards her. And yun nga, it was more of a technical joke rather than a green joke. Then I felt bad for the guys. And yeah, then I felt like, oh, ang OA naman nung babae na to na, yun nga, parang di naman siya yung tinutukoy, nakikialam lang, parang she was eavesdropping basically. And then suddenly it was like, I feel unsafe now, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I feel we are now. And it's very difficult for anybody to say anything because somebody will get upset. And that's also not productive, diba? That doesn't facilitate communication. Bottom line, and then you get terms like snowflake and social justice warriors and things like, it's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. Um, and then even now, like if you listen to me, you might be thinking, well, he's kind of like a chauvinist jerk, right? Who's defending men's bad behavior. And let's be clear, I'm not defending like the types of Harvey Weinstein, and things like that. That guy, horrible behavior, or Jeffrey Epstein, like who had relations, I think, with underage girls, and things like that. Definitely not defending that. What I am defending is that and the whole woke culture thing. I don't even want to say I'm defending anything. Just my personal take on it is that um people get too offended easily nowadays. That's not to say that you should take everything lying down, but kasi I think parang personally, parang everybody is just like, I shouldn't be the one, I shouldn't have to take the shit. Parang ganon. Like, other people don't have to take the shit. And I won't take it anymore. Even though it's such a small thing. Yun, parang, that's my personal opinion. A lot of these are small things. Um, and I wouldn't, like, yeah, I'll take it. Like these microaggressions, the F are those, man. I'm not white. I go to the States. I somebody compliments me. Oh, you have such good English. Now that's a microaggression. For me, that's a compliment. I don't understand why non-whites, why some Filipinos are snarky. Like, oh, like Caucasian said that I have good English. What does he think that we don't speak English in the Philippines? For me, parang that's a good-natured compliment. They're it's something to be admired that they're complimenting you. You're not an American. I know that you're a tourist, you're a foreigner, but you have good English. And for them, that's a compliment. I don't see why I should take it as an insult. Ayun, but some people get bent out of shape, right? Microaggression. But what are these microaggression things, man? And it's true. I am not black. I didn't grow up black in America. Perhaps your perspective is different. I'm not white. I didn't grow up non-white in America. Perhaps your perspective is different. But for me, microaggressions like that, I try not to take offense. Not just situations like that where you're the fish out of water, where you're the foreigner, where you're the tourist. But even oops, oh, my camera stopped. Like I'm watching the stream now and my camera stopped. Maybe I ran out of battery. Oh, there we go. Yeah. um, should I? Yeah. Okay. Sige guys, I will switch to um my cell phone camera. Perhaps the fancy camera from Canon died na. Parang nga. Well, you don't really need to see me. You guys know what I look like. So that's interesting. Huh? So we've only been doing it for an hour or so and the battery died. And that was full charge when I started the stream. So good to know. Just some things to keep in mind. Yeah, so sorry, I got off topic, but microaggressions and things like that. I'm like, I don't mind taking it. Like if they're small things, like I don't take offense, even if they are trying to insult me. Let's say somebody comes up to me and they are trying to insult me, like, oh, your English is so good. Well, then you can be witty and you can say that, well, it's not an easy language. I learned it on the airplane. If if someone is trying to insult you, you can be like super hypersensitive, or you can like come up with a snappy remark and get have a wittier party instead of like, oh, I'm insulted and oh, microaggression and things like that. Not to say that, of course, there are some times where taking offense is justified and calling somebody out is justified. But it's overblown. Like, my personal opinion is that it's performative for a lot of people. Like they want to show other people that, oh yes, I'm woke and I'm with you, and even though it's more about them rather than trying to advance other people's equality. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Katima Gaming, good angle on the freeze. Completely accidental. Actually, on the OBS now, I've turned it off, but apparently on the stream, Ano, yeah, okay, the camera's gone na rin sa camera's gone na rin on the stream. Just going through the comments. Katimo Gaming Championship Manager. Is this the one na parang you're managing football players? Parang you have like a team and stuff? I think. Casey Bolio's Cats, Atlas Mix. Yes. Oh my god, man. Timberwolf, Catapult, Rifleman, Atlas, Daishi. Um, uh, so the newer mix. Oh man. Kitaro, the Kitaro 50-ton mech, Locust, Wasp, all those things. So good. Super, super into Battletech. Casey Bolliers, I really like the salvaging of mechs. Yeah, me too. Parang it really added something na, like, oh wait, let's just aim for the legs para we can take it out and we can salvage the torso. We can salvage the mech. IDX Addict, being mixed, I will get the best of both worlds. Yeah, di ba? Parang, I mean, I assume you're saying like, you're like part Asian, part Western, or I mean, in the sense, I don't know, like your parent, like your dad is American, your mom is Filipina, or vice versa, or just mixed culturally because you grew up like in the States and then came back here. They're that's the yeah that's the best outcome of interactions, diba, with other cultures. You get the best of both worlds. You appreciate American food, you appreciate Filipino humor, you appreciate, diba, parang you can you can cherry pick the things that bring you joy as a person instead of always focusing on the negative or on having to be offended. I mean, yun talaga yun eh. Parang may obligation na like, oh my god, I have to be offended because that person said this or that. Parang ganyan. JC, if you only speak one language, you're probably American. Actually, there's the musical called My Fair Lady, which is based on an even older story called Pygmalion. But anyway, in the musical, one song goes na, um, I wish the British could speak proper English. Or sorry, I wish the British would teach their children proper English. And then one of the lyrics is na, it makes pintas other nationalities, like how the British speak English, how the French speak English, and then the punchline is that in America they haven't spoken English in years. So yeah, so everybody makes fun of everybody else, right? It's not just like us na ano. So on that note, like on best of both worlds, I'm gonna end with Sid Meier's Memoir. Sid Meier, for the youngins in the audience, is a guy who made Civilization. He's the designer who made Civilization, the game. Um, I grew up with Civilization. I played all of the Civilizations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I remember playing Civilization like yun talaga yung first what the syndrome is ano, one turn syndrome, next turn syndrome or something na you keep telling yourself one turn na lang, and next thing you know it's like 5 in the morning or something. I have super admired Sid Meier since then, since I played Civilization back when I was a kid. And so this is his memoir. He's writing very sobrang casual lang ng style. It's such a nice read. This book just came out like a month ago or 2 months ago. I put it on my wish list on in Amazon, and then they emailed me like, "Oh, this book is 60% off." So I'm like, "Okay." So I got the Kindle version. It's really nice. Parang especially for those gamers who grew up with that generation, in that generation. To hear about the old games, how they used to do it before, to hear how Sid Meier started out. His first job wasn't in game design, although galing, you really admire the work ethic na he was just really into it. Like he started doing games on his own as a hobby. he met the right people, he met a good partner who was savvy at the business end. And then I really like the way it's written kasi sobrang conversational lang. Sobrang conversational lang. He's just really making kwento. Um, that yeah, this is how we started and this is my approach to game design, and yun, may mga little tidbits about microprose like when they started, and it's just a really super nostalgic feeling to hear like oh ito pala roots nung games that I played obsessively, man, obsessively. If you remember the original Civilization, wala pang pathfinding yan. You have to do everything manually. But 'di ba, parang ang galing kasi that's the one that stood the test of time. The gameplay mechanics in Civ are still being used in the Civilization games up to now. Putting up your city, irrigating, having basic units for defense, building roads, encouraging trade so that you have taxes, which fuels your expansion, parang ganyan. Diplomacy might have changed, even though Gandhi is still a dick. Um, you might have these city states now that you can sort of make your protectorates. I mean, a lot of things have changed, but the basic design of Civ hasn't changed since Sid Meier did it. And actually, I'm only reaching that point in the book where he starts talking about, he has started to talk about, oh, I want to make this game, Civilizations. I haven't heard the anecdotes yet about it. But it's, the book is basically, before how he started in the gaming industry, what he was doing before then, and it's making kwento all of his games from the start up to the latest. And so I'm in that point where he's talking about Civilization. And if you're a Sid Meier fan, all of the names are familiar. Bruce Shelley, was his business partner, then parang apparently he was in the Reserve Air Force, so he was super big on piloting, and he has super larger than life personality, so bagay na bagay for marketing and setting up a business. Convincing people, things like that. Um, uh, and the one who helped him design Civilization, I forget his name, but he was with Avalon Hill. He also went on to design other games like Civilization. Darn, I just can't remember his name now. But a lot of the names, Microprose, Bruce Shelley, Sid Meier, a lot of it is very familiar to the guys who grew up in that generation, as well as who read about it. Like, ako, I was a bit young to appreciate like the designers and things like that. But when you read about games, you come across Sid Meier, who's like one of the original gods of the computer gaming designers, and there are little tidbits there. Also in the book, like his philosophy about game design, why he doesn't feel violence is appropriate. Not that there isn't any violence. If you play any Civilization game, it can get bloody. When the Zulus march their catapults into your city, god damn it, man, that's personal. And you're gonna spend the rest of the game. Like, parang you go, in poker kasi, like, you're on tilt. Like, you lost a hand, sobrang naiinis ka, you're on tilt. Like, you're gonna play every hand because you're just pissed off with yourself, or you're just pissed off with the table. And that happens a lot with Civilization. Like, you're minding your own business, and then these goddamn Zulus, they send like a catapult, and it takes out your capital city. And even though you can recover, like your production can recover, you found other cities, you will never forgive the Zulus for that transgression. You will spend the rest of that game, your entire Civilization's history, getting back at those guys. So if you played Civ, you know that there is violence involved in some Sid Meier games. But what he meant was like gratuitous violence. And so there's some tidbits about that, tidbits about the entire gaming industry. So it's such a nice. I'm having a super nice time reading it. Just for the informative factor. He's a very good, very informal narrator. So it's very light read and things like that. So yeah, I'm super enjoying both of those books. But you notice, like, Sid Meier's memoir, yun yung pang type 1 ko. Like, I don't really need to think about it. I'm just enjoying the stories. May halo effect yan. You say Sid Meier. Like, if you told me Sid Meier, like, lumabas pala later on na he was a bad boss, like, he used to yell at people, like, toxic pala yung development atmosphere in Microprose, or like, he was like those kind of jerk guys na used his
position to hit on women, or to have, make inappropriate advances, I wouldn't believe it. That's the example of a halo effect, diba? Kasi sobrang taas ng tingin ko kay Sid Meier. If like just a random accusation came out like that, I'd be like, hell no, Sid Meier. The guy who did Civilization, the guy who said these things in this book, he would never do something like that. But yeah, diba? I mean, that's my type 1 brain in effect, and I do acknowledge that's why thinking fast, thinking slow is important, kasi it really drives home your biases, and it's good to be aware. Like, even if you still act according to those biases, at least you still remember in the back of your mind, you're like, maybe I should re-examine this. Why am I doing this action? Is it just because force of habit? Is it just because of halo effect? Somebody trying to manipulate me and things like that. So that's thinking fast and thinking slow is a much slower read for me. It's not a hard read. Like, the author doesn't use difficult language. It's not an academic read. It's not like parang he's trying to be highfalutin or verbose. But it's just that it's so packed with good things you need to think about. I am kind of thinking it slowly. So much so na I kind of have to force myself a little to read it, to be honest. My thing is, I will read 2% every day. Basta naka 2% na ako sa thinking fast, thinking slow. I'm reading it on Kindle, so it's by percentage. Once I've done my 2% for the day, then I can read how much ever the hell I want of Sid Meier's Memoir or of the Battletech book I'm reading. And I don't mean to make it sound like thinking fast, thinking slow is punishment, or it's drudgery. It's not. It's very informative. It's very thought-provoking. But yun nga, just in terms of mental comfort, it's so much easier to go through the Battletech and the Sid Meier book. But yeah, I am enjoying my time with thinking fast, thinking slow, but I have to kind of pace it out like that. Yung Katima Gaming, one more turn, right? I know, right? One more turn. I'm gonna finish this granary. I'm gonna finish this barracks. I'm gonna finish this marketplace. Next thing you know, nasa industrial age ka na. And it's like, you haven't slept. And then you have to go to class. But good times, man. Civilization games. Sobrang good times. Carl Louis asked my specs, like my computer. The specs of my computer are super old. i5 4690K. I think it's around 3 or 4 years old. Although my my GPU now is an AMD TUF, an Asus TUF 6800 XT. Thank you, Asus, for lending me the 6800 XT. So sobrang OP, diba? Yes, I know it's imba siya, bottleneck. I did actually do a video where I say na yes, it is bottleneck, but it allows you to play modern games, and all you have to do is upgrade the graphics card. So in some use cases, it still works out, But yeah, I'm on an i5 4690K, Noctua air cooler, 6800 XT, although I do need to return the GPU soon. I do have a couple of SSDs, which are my main drives, and 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. Ha! There you go. IDX Addict, Bill Gates is so rich that he is no longer experiencing life like a human being does. It's true. I read somewhere that if you're worth billions of dollars, that sum of money is unfathomable. It's inconceivable. Like, you could spend $100 million a day for the rest of your life, or basta some crazy, incomprehensible number like that. Di naman siguro $100 million, right? Like, you can spend $1 million for the rest of your life. Yun, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And you wouldn't even dent your net worth. Yeah, and it is true. Those super rich guys, Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, Carlos Slim from Mexico, who for a long time was neck and neck. Like, paminsan siya yung richest man, then si Bill Gates, and they would trade places. Their level of wealth is on such a different level that like, yeah, he can't imagine anymore. Like, parang iba yung buhay nila. Does it zoom? Yes, it does, because the Noctua gives it good air cooling. Although I'm happy Vic LR33 that your PC now has good air cooling, which people will hear about tomorrow when I post about it. I was gonna post about it now, but then Rafael posted about his cable management, and we tried to do just one post a day para hindi naman masaturate yung social media namin. So I will be posting Vic's rig tomorrow. Can I play Crisis? If I didn't have the 6800 XT or the 3080 also from Tough, probably not. Kasi sobrang kawawa ng computer ko. Irvin Jan says just Noctua. Pero hindi naman just Noctua, but I mean, it's not an air cooler. It's not anything fancy. Like, I just really chose it because like performance. Yung nga, I said in a post, like I think yesterday, like I love Noctua just because for their performance. So good. No nonsense. No holds barred. Para lang performance. And yung nga, I haven't repasted my Noctua in like 3 or 4 years or something, and I really should. But it's still keeping my CPU temps way down. Galing talaga ng Noctua. Like, I really have nothing to say. JP Atienza from Facebook says, gusto ko lang boss, ma-shoutout mo ko. Nanonood ako YouTube mo. Aba. Nanonood ako YouTube mo, aba. Well, you commented on Facebook, so like you watch our YouTube channel, you watch the videos on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much. Shout out to JP Atienza. Thanks for watching, and thanks for watching the live stream. It says 1 minute ago, so I hope you're still watching. Sorry, I'm very scatterbrained when it comes to seeing the chat. So sometimes I respond late, especially when I'm doing in the shop. I'm doing in the shop, and then I reply to comments like 30 minutes later or something like that. Wild. So anyway, guys, my camera died on me like 15-20 minutes ago. Yeah, 20 minutes ago. So I think that might have been a hint that it's time to say goodnight. Thanks for joining me. Media Diet, to be honest, it's one of our least popular shows. I do just talk about random things. Well, now we ended up talking about woke culture and things like that. But I do like just, like, oh my God, I love this game. Oh my God, I love this book. Oh my God, I love this movie, this TV show. And thanks so much for listening to me gush about the things that I like. The next live streams are Pwede Magtanong this Friday. Everybody knows Pwede Magtanong. And then live from the shop is actually Saturday, 1 p.m. Kasi I will be at the shop. Yun. If anybody wants to drop by, actually I don't recommend it because we're trying to, practice social distancing pa rin. But I will be the guy hanging out at the shop Saturday. That's why I'll be streaming in the afternoon kasi I'll be there na. Yep. Reverend John, I try to watch all the shows. I know, man, and I appreciate it. I often see your name in the chat. Thanks so much. Ron Austria, learning about your career, Rafael and myself was really inspiring. Keep up the quality content. Thank you. Yeah, it has been it has been fun. I mean, even before the YouTube, even before Hardware Sugar, I always just try to find interesting things to do, things that I myself find interesting, and like, oh wow, let's try that. Then and then we try it, and then we lose like gobs of money because the things that we want to do are expensive, like setting up a goddamn PC shop. I mean, man, running hardware, the operating expenses. I mean, I'm gonna real talk, guys. We haven't made any money yet on Hardware Sugar. We are still carrying some debt, but hopefully we'll pay it off soon because there is money in, there is money out, but like we haven't made a net profit yet because it is hard. It's hard to run a hardware shop, and especially now where the parts themselves are expensive. Then you pay for rent, you pay for staff, all those things. On a business level, kumbaga bagsak pa kami sa PC building simulator in terms of money earned. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, and we're just starting. Hopefully the best is yet to come for the channel and for the shop. That's why That's why I gotta do crypto, man. That's why I'm super into crypto, because that one, definitely crypto, I've made money there. So crypto, funds, hardware, sugar. And thank you to ITX Addict for for trying out our Bitcoin payment method. Ravenjan, yes, we do scheduling. So if somebody tells us that they're coming in, we do try to stagger it. Like we ask, oh, can you come in Saturday na lang kasi puno na yung Friday and things like that. But there are a lot of there are a lot of walk-ins. Yun, they don't tell us beforehand. So ayun, so medyo paminsan we ask people to wait outside or whatever. I mean, we try as much as possible, of course, to maintain social distancing and to have the least number of people in the shop. Um, but yeah, it's hard sometimes to make walk-ins. Um, Katima Gaming, why is the RAM all gone? No, I just put it. I was gonna show it to the camera, then pala, no, namatay na pala yung camera. But rest assured, I have not opened it yet. I just put it to the side. All right, so I am going to have a snack now because I'm hungry. I'm always hungry after these streams. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay safe. I'll see you on Friday for Pwede Magtanong. Yeah, I do appreciate big big LR33 random people. Actually, it's not. In fairness, okay lang yung sa'yo eh. But I do get people like messaging me. Cause I turn off my phone. But sometimes because people text me like at midnight or something. Okay pa yung Viber kasi I don't get it right away. But yung phone talaga, grabe. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Good night. Stay safe. And see you on Friday for Pwede Magtanong. Bye, guys.